Hi, my name's Maria. I'm known as VeloSews on social media. This is my sewing studio, so welcome to VeloSews Studio and happy Friday sews. Today I'm going to run you through the things that have been happening this week. The blouse that I'm wearing is a Sutton Blouse. It's no longer available. I've made it out of linen, did a bit of trim here on the front of the yoke and on the back. And let me see. Here is some embroidery that was done by Goodwin. She's the embroidery machine expert for Hatch. We did a program a couple of years ago and it was live, and she did this as part of that broadcast. So I was really lucky to have this embroidery done on this grey linen fabric, and it's really easy to wear, and I tend to wear it when it's kind of in between seasons. So that's what I'm wearing today. For my sewing catch up, I'm hoping that you saw the two previous videos which showed the 3 blouses or the 3 shirts that are sewed for hashtag #SewAprilBlouse26. They were a lot of work and I really enjoyed them, and in between times I did a couple of alterations on existing shirts that I had that weren't really sitting right on me, or they weren't quite the right fit. And this one behind me, I've got the back showing, and the reason I've got the back showing is because I actually unpicked this part of the shirt because there were 2 pleats, one here and one there, and it was quite large. There was a lot of room around the back of the waist here. So what I ended up doing, I don't know if you can see, but I've got 2 darts on either side of the centre back. So the centre back's there, there's no line there. Yeah, it was a lot of unpicking, and I did cut back some of the yoke because there's a back yoke here, and I brought the sleeve closer in here. There's still a bit of room here, but in the main I was really pleased that I sat there with my, where is it, my trusty unpicker. I've got 3 of these in different locations of the sewing room so that I can use them when I need them. Anyway, enough of that. But I suppose what I wanted to say was part of creating or sewing the 3 blouses for #SewAprilBlouse26, it gave me some food for thought around a couple of existing blouses. Would I keep them? Would I not keep them? If I was to keep them, what should I do to make them feel better, make me feel more comfortable wearing them? And so that was kind of the byproduct of #SewAprilBlouse26. On the pattern testing front, I'm doing a pattern test at the moment for Designer Stitch. There's a new blouse and a new pair of pants that have been designed for linen or linen type fabrics, kind of a medium weight. So I've decided that I'll do the Fara top, and I've actually sewn those, and I'll show them to you once they launch. And I've used 2 different weight linen fabrics. One is a linen blend and it's kind of a medium weight. The other one is a lighter weight linen, but it's 100% linen, and you'll see what the difference is. And I just want to thank Anne for including me in the pattern test this time. So thank you for that. On Organised Style podcast this week is Ruth Collins. Ruth Collins is known on Instagram as Ithaca Maven. You would know her from the top down center out method. So that's a pants fitting method that she did a lot of work to get that thinking about using a waistband, testing one side of the pants when you're trying to establish the best fit for pants. And it's got to do with what she likes to do in her life as a tutor. So last year when we got back from overseas, her book arrived. So the book is Body Neutral Fitting, and this is the pants edition. So you probably would have seen this somewhere on Instagram. And the good part about this is that she goes through a lot of the aspects of pants fitting, the design, etc. Now, you can get this book that Ruth has put together. So she's the author and Martine Barnaby has done the illustrations. They're both tutors or professors at university. What Ruth has been doing in her Substack is helping groups of people globally in getting better fitting pants. So I encourage you to contact Ruth if you want the body neutral fitting pants edition book, because she's only selling that through her Substack account, or have a listen to the podcast this week. It goes for 30 minutes, so grab yourself a cuppa. So on the Sew Over 50 front, if you don't already know, Sew Over 50 has taken the forward-thinking step of developing another account on Instagram called Share Sew Over 50. And Share Sew Over 50, when you tag your post, use the @ and then the words Share Sew Over 50 on the actual post, on the image, so that your post will appear with all of the other posts that are in the Share Sew Over 50 account. This is the best way to overcome the fact that the hashtag in Explore on Instagram is pretty much broken. So this is our way of staying in contact with each other online. So I hope that you've gotten into the habit, or are getting into the habit, of when you put a post up about your sewing, that you tag at Share Sew Over 50. The other thing I wanted to give you an update about is an account that I've got on Instagram called Everything Frocktails. So there are lots of events that are happening in 2026 and 2027. What I wanted to let you know is that every week or every 2 weeks, I update Everything Frocktails so that you can find a Frocktails no matter where you are in the world. And the 2026 events have pretty much expanded 2 or 3-fold. So keep an eye and follow Everything Frocktails on Instagram. There are 2 events that we already know are in 2027, and there's a separate post about that. Each post gets updated as there are changes to the events, and sometimes, like last year, they couldn't go ahead because they didn't have enough numbers. We'll see what happens this year, and I'll make sure that I keep it up to date as I hear of new Frocktails events all over the world. Coming up next week in my sewing studio, I'll be doing a test of the Poppy dress by Minerva. They've got some exclusive patterns, and I said that I would test the Minerva dress pattern. It's part of my brand ambassador role, and there are a few more pieces of fabric that are coming through and another pattern that's coming through, but that won't happen next week. It'll be in the weeks coming up. The other thing that's happening next week is I'm planning my sewing makes for May. So in May, I've agreed to be one of the video bloggers for Frugalissima, and that challenge is all about using a free pattern, using fabric from your stash, and coming up with something to share with the community. The good thing that I like about this one is that Sam Chandler, who's Frugalissima, she has been running this for a few years now, and what the emphasis of this particular challenge is for May is that you go back into your stash in your sewing studio and use what you have. So it's not a matter of finding the latest pattern or the latest fabric. What you have is what she's hoping that you'll use as part of this challenge. So that's it from me for Friday Sews this week. My name's Maria. I'm known as VeloSews on social media. This is my studio, VeloSews Studio, and I wish you all the best for sewing this week. Cheers!